is up, guys? Welcome back to OverTakes. This is Misfit, and today we are going to talk about the play-ins. We're going to do a little recap here, just to give you guys a heads up. All right, the reason why I didn't have it earlier, we talked about this a couple of times. So I moved this weekend, well, all of last week, when the play-ins happened and all that, and I just got my internet back up, so I'm able to record and all that. So little delay, sorry about that, but I wanted to give you guys my thoughts on that. And of course, I'm going on vacation again. Well, not again. I'm going on vacation on Thursday, so I am going to do a preview show for the playoffs because why wouldn't we? I want to talk about it, give you my thoughts, give you my predictions, all that stuff. And of course, we had some stuff come down over the last week that I wanted to talk about really quick too before we talk about the play-ins. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the play-ins. A lot of people talked about it. I have a lot to say about it, believe me. And some of you guys are waiting for me to talk about my predictions and such, I'm sure. But first, I want to thank you guys for joining me. All of your support is greatly, greatly appreciated. And if you're new, thanks for stopping by. I usually do Overwatch League content 2 to 3 times a week, unless I'm moving and going on vacation. And then it's like one episode a week. But I will be on social media at some point, probably after the matches at night, after I'm done doing the day's activities. I'm going to watch some of the matches because I usually don't go to bed early anyway. Depending on, I'm going to Northern California, depending on how many wineries and breweries I've gone to during the day. But I will have some things to say about the playoffs for sure. And of course, we'll do extensive recaps and stuff when I get back, which I get back on the 25th. And I believe somewhere around start time, a little after. But I'll be able to recap all the stuff, and we'll talk about it in length after it's all said and done. All right, so let's talk about news really quick. So while I was on my break, we had a couple of things going on with Overwatch 2 madness, people going back and forth, and then we had an article by Richard Lewis that basically going through all the stuff. The owners, they're worried about stuff, obviously, with the game, because the game means revenue for the league. You got a stale game. The viewership has been better than expected this year, so that's a good thing for the Overwatch League. Better than last year. Last year kind of tanked, which is weird because I thought more people would watch because they were inside, but, it is what it is. There was production mishaps and, just big, long breaks and all that stuff in the middle of the season with the COVID thing and all that. Towards the middle end of the article, there's a leak in there about the league playing on Overwatch 2 next season. And then Jon Spector came out and confirmed it. In April, they're going to start on an early build of Overwatch 2. I don't know what that means as far as the offseason, which is going to make it interesting. Because now you're going into a new game. You don't know how these guys are going to perform. You have extra players. It's just inevitable. I don't like seeing guys lose their jobs, but it's inevitable. There's extra players on these teams. With the loss of a role in the 5v5, I think a lot of these guys, they might not lose their job this year, but they might lose it next year once we get more people in the cycle of Overwatch being 5v5. That being said, that isn't exciting news. I mean, we got a confirmation because the league can't take a year-long break while these guys are diddling around doing whatever they're doing with the game. I understand. You want it polished. You want it good. You think it's going to come out terrible and all that stuff. But it's not just the league standpoint. It becomes a lost game at that point when you've been waiting. They've been working on this since 2018 at this point. Yes, they restarted it and they remade it and did different things, and they added the 5v5 and all that. I think, and they said that they wanted to unlock features. I think the features that they're locking, and this is my speculation, probably other guys too, we're going to get the PvP. I'm sure there's going to be some kind of beta or something like that. They'd like to roll out a closed and then probably an open beta. They might even do open beta when the league starts. I would assume the thing drops full version, ready to go. Maybe not PvE, but the PvP version. I think they're going to do something cheesy like do it around the anniversary in May. You get to watch the Overwatch League guys play it for a couple of weeks, see how it goes, and then you can immediately go into matches and mauled because people aren't doing the meta that they're doing in Overwatch League because they think that's the only way to play the game. But I think it's great for the league. I think it's going to be fantastic. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in the next couple of months. The offseason is going to be kind of kooky with this scenario. And I apologize if it's echoey. I don't have any of my sound stuff that I normally have up in my room, so it might be a little weird. I haven't gone over the tape. Obviously, I'm talking. I can hear the echoes, though. So if it's a little tingy and echoey, I apologize. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that. And we're going to talk more about that for sure. Once we as the information comes in, I'm going to talk about this in the offseason, because it's going to be the biggest topic that there is. Other than what our team's going to do with their rosters and all that, it's going to be what's going on with Overwatch 2 and how it pertains to the Overwatch League and to the game itself, because I love the game. And I've been waiting for this, and I feel like playing Overwatch is like kind of a done thing right now. Even though I go in and play, it just doesn't feel the same anymore. It's like when your car's getting old and you're waiting for it to die to get the new model, and you're just like, it still works. It's still good. I still have kind of the feel I had for it, but I want the new one. That's how I feel about it. All right, let's talk play-ins. Here we go, guys. All right. First things, let's right off the bat, before we talk about this, Washington fans, I was wrong. I doubted your team. The good Washington showed up, and I had to eat massive 100-pound batches of crow all weekend watching them actually play like they're supposed to. In fact, I even tweeted out, I said, this is the Washington we've been waiting to see all year, the dominant Washington. And goddamn, did they do a good job. I'm going to go quickly over the first couple of matches. There really isn't much to talk about. There's only one match really that was worth talking about. Look, I'm going to spend more time talking about the two teams that are in, kind of, and a couple of other narratives here, the three teams that got in. Mostly I'm going to talk about Washington and Philly. San Francisco had the easiest path. They ended up taking Toronto, and they left after Washington absolutely dismantled the Eternal. San Francisco did what you're supposed to do in a situation when you get to pick the opponent. I'm not picking the hardest guy. I'm picking the weakest guy. But yeah, so they did that and left Houston with Washington. They took Toronto. Boston got buried. I don't know what happened to Boston later on towards the end. Yeah, Toronto was playing better, and I expected them to win. I didn't think they were going to win that decisively, but on paper, honestly, Toronto is better if you look at it. Maybe on the same level. They were just better that day. Let's just go with that. Boston was a little bit off, but you know what? Boston had a good season for them. After the last couple seasons, they looked fantastic at times, and they got a lot of stuff together. They got into the playoff play-ins, which nobody expected. And I thought they were going to be decent enough this year. I thought kind of Paris was going to be where the Mayhem were, and they kind of flip-flopped, those two teams. And yeah, so don't be down if you're a Boston fan. You got a good building blocks there, and it's going to be good. As far as Paris, little disappointing towards the end of the year. Same thing though. I'm going to say the same thing. Don't be disappointed. They showed what they can do with the all-European roster. They got some good pieces in there late. They had some good pieces to start with, and great season. I would not be very, very upset about this because expectations were very low for this team coming in. So, props to them. They got in there, but they got beat by the two better teams. Washington showed up. Washington, like I said earlier, they came to play. And let's talk about the three teams that got in. Now, over in APAC, as expected, the Fusion took care of Hangzhou. And look, Hangzhou is, to me, they're like almost like the Mayhem of APAC. They are very disappointing. They had moments in the season where you could see that they were a good team. Much like the Mayhem, they had a tournament cycle where they had a little bit easier schedule. They showed their dominance. They got flowing, but in the end, they didn't do anything. Mayhem went a little farther, but that's a whole other story for another day. And this roster should be doing something, but the problem is internally, there's a lot of confusion, chaos, coaches leaving, coaches getting fired, flip-flopping around, and that's strategies and all the stuff that you need to be cohesive throughout a year. You go through that many coaches and all that stuff, it's going to be a jumbled mess. Even with players like Shai and Gouchway and a couple of the other guys. I mean, there's a lot of things that they do that they need to work on. I think when you see them, Gouchewe's good on a couple of heroes, he's not. So you're expecting it. And it's a little telegraphed, but, it is what it is. They should have been better than they were. And to be honest, I didn't think they were going to be even in this position because I didn't think they were that good. Not on paper, but just from past performances of these guys, they just underperform a lot. I mean, Architect looked like a different player this year than he's been. It's just sad. Fusion looked great. All of the pieces are coming together. Like I said in the preview for this, you had EQO playing great, Carpe playing great, Tankline doing well, Alarm playing out of his mind, especially against fucking Hangzhou. He just ate that for lunch. And throwing in a Shockwave here and there to do certain things is fantastic. I like their chances in the playoffs. I really do. Then we'll talk about this match first. The Seoul Dynasty versus the Philadelphia Fusion. We had the Fusion in this one, we meaning me. For one reason, and one reason alone, is that Seoul this year cannot finish. They did once against Philly, but, they get into these positions, and they're to me, a lot of it's, I don't know if it's head coaching, whoever works on the strategy, or whatever. I know a lot of people say coaching, blah, blah, blah. There's a coaching diff here. And I don't know what they were doing. So in the championship game, after riding Gesture, and now I'm a big Marv 1 fan, and remember that. I thought he should have been in at certain times in certain metas, yeah. When you have Rhine and you have Ball, I want to see Marv. But when you could go into maps and scenarios where you're going to run Orisa or you're going to run Winston, why would you not put Gesture in there? He's probably still the best Orisa, one of them, top 3, and he's still very, very serviceable on Winston, if not above average. And in a playoff situation, he's kind of the guy I want to have in there. He likes the pressure. He likes the spotlight and all that. They just did not perform well. They got absolutely pounded at certain times by the Fusion's tank line. And I don't know what they're doing. I don't know why they do things like they do. And as we've been saying, Onimo, not great. Tuyu did not look his best. And, they failed. Even Prophet, to an extent, he did what he could, and Fitz as well, but you get to a certain point when you rely on two guys like that to hard carry, you're going to lose to a team like Philadelphia, who's playing at the level that they should be playing at, which is vying for championships with this team. I mean, you have the best backline probably in the league with Alarm and Funny Astro. You have Carpe, you have EQO, and you have Shockwave. Those are a lot of guys that just carry. So Philly beats them, and they go off to the playoffs. Okay, let's go to NA. We're not going to talk too much about the Shock other than the fact that they did what everyone thought they should do against Toronto, and they demolished them. They absolutely destroyed them. And I had a feeling it was going to be bad, but I didn't think it was going to be that bad. I thought Toronto would show up a little bit. But you know what? San Francisco is getting in their zone, in quotes here. Now, mind you, they did against Toronto and not against Washington. So it's really hard to judge that right now. But they beat Washington in the regular season, but Washington was off. It's just a whole thing with them. And we'll talk about the play-in pick'em show there where Moon just went full-on fucking heat-seeking revenge style. But Shock took care of business. They're in. Now the last match we have is the match, and it was a great match. Houston Outlaws, Washington Justice. So going in, I didn't have Washington here, but after watching them play, I was afraid for Houston. I am not going to lie. The way that they played against the Eternal and just demolished them, I didn't think it was going to be a good showing for Houston. But Houston, early parts of this match, they were doing great. But if you watch some of the things that were going on in this match, yeah, Houston won a couple of matches. I think they were up at one point. They were up 2-1, and they were taunting and trash talking and all that. Dante and Jake, and it doesn't bother me, and I don't think it bothered the Justice. But I'm not poking the bear here, okay? I don't want to give Decay any fuel. there are certain guys you don't get up in their face and provoke them into concentrating more and doing the "I'll show you, you motherfucker" kind of thing. That's, it's the Jordan mentality. Oh, you want to talk trash to me? Okay, fine. We'll see what you have to say when we're done. That kind of stuff. And as the match is going on, though, I'm watching it going, Houston's playing well, but there was a lot of things going on in that match. Decay was having his way. And Assassin was elite on Sombra. This is something that I was harping on for 2 weeks about why I didn't think that they would go anywhere. Assassin was playing absolutely terrible for the last month to 2 months or however long on Sombra. And he stepped his game up to a level that I had not known he had to play that hero. He was, as Dante was typing in chat, doing his thing, Assassin was just on a mission, especially, it was mostly when Dante was on Sombra. He would go seeking out the translocator and just fucking blow it up. And it was hilarious. I was laughing. I'm like, these guys think they got this game in the bag, and they don't realize that Assassin's actually tearing them to pieces. And my God, how many times he got in the back line with fucking EMPs and just might have got a couple guys he got critical EMPs, not necessarily big 5-6 man EMPs all the time, but critical ones. And sometimes that's better than trying to get the big hero play and get everybody. And Decay followed up on everything. So you got these two guys working together. The back line, towards the middle late of the match, back line of Houston was getting fucking decimated. And Crimzo and Jexley were playing decent. And they were just getting fucking destroyed. And I also want to say that Mag played really well. Fury was back to Fury. I don't know if it, and a lot of people are talking playoff Decay. Decay plays like this every fucking week. He has 1 or 2 off games and everyone says he's terrible. I say this even the fact that Decay is their team. So I don't understand this narrative of playoff Decay. Playoff Decay to me is the same as regular season Decay, which is fucking insane. Even in the matches that the Justice were losing, minus I think 1 or 2 where Hisu, I think it was Toronto, Hisu just knew every time Decay was coming into the back line. Or was it no, it was Michelle. I'm sorry, it was Michelle, and he was eating his pulse bombs. But he was the only guy trying to do anything. So at that point, so why not spy him? But anyway, Houston. Look, I normally get on them with the plan B and all that, but when you have one day to plan, there's no plan B time. We worked really well, and the strategy. And I'm going to say this: the strategy that they had to start the game and that they played throughout the game, it worked well, 90% of the time until it didn't. And at that point, it was too late to try and come up with something. Normally, I say, if X counters this, or, you have some kind of plan. But when you're running a plan and it's rolling like that, I get the fact that they didn't switch until later on to try and make up some ground here. But by the time they did, the momentum had totally shifted, and it was totally in Washington's favor. And Washington beat them in the 5th map. It was a fantastic game. It was well played. I loved watching it. I loved the trash talk. I liked at the end where Mag's like, go home, or something like that, or goodbye, or something. To the Outlaws' credits, it's like, we go home now. So, yeah, careful what you wish for. Someone went home and it was you. But that's my thoughts on that match. And, Houston had a great season for Houston. Look, I'm not being mean here in any stretch of what I'm saying. A lot of people had them low. I had expectations for Houston to be kind of in this position they're in now. I just thought they would have made it into the playoffs maybe. But I looked at the roster. I said, it's a good start. They have good coaches. I think they're going to be decent this year. And a lot of people looked at me sideways and said I was fucking nuts. But you know what? They had a great year. They just didn't finish great. It happens. You didn't have enough to win where it counted, but you had enough to get you over that hump of being a loser and a laughing stock. You're not that anymore. So this is something to build upon and grow with. There are a lot of things they need to look at. What's working, what's not. I don't know what's going to happen next. It's hard to say these things like, you need to look at the tank line. Well, it's not going to be a thing at tank line. It's going to be the tank. So we'll see what happens there. But anyway, last part I want to talk about is our our matchup show and go over the schedule really quick. The match-ins were one of those pick-em things where they pick your opponents, and it was spicy. I'm not gonna lie. First pick right off the rip, we had the Dragons come out, and fucking Moon doesn't pull any punch. Everyone's going, so is he? I'm going to my head. I wonder if he's going to take Washington, maybe Atlanta. Get one of those teams out of the way. They probably do decent against Washington. They've shown that they can play against Atlanta. And he's like, nope, we want the shock. Running it back, I guess. Holy cow. I was like, all right, this is getting good now, boy. He did that. And, Super was just like, all right, GG. Or whatever he said. He said something like that. Business is business or something. Oh, no, that was when they picked Toronto. I don't know. But I was laughing. I was like, Moon has literally lost his fucking crackers in this one. Jesus. But it was great. I like seeing stuff like that. It was spicy. It added a great start. And it shook things up more than I thought. I think Chengdu wanted to do something, but their guys are kind of reluctant to say shit. But anyway, the matchups we got, that was the best pick out of there. And Dallas and Washington a little back and forth with Sparkle saying he wanted to kill Decay, and Decay was like, I'm going to eat you like a snack or something like that. That was a little good back and forth there. But, yeah, schedule-wise. So, after all that, and the Gladiators end up with Fusion. That's going to be a great match, too. They're all going to be good. Gator didn't know what to say to Chengdu. He didn't want to talk trash, because I think he wanted to go at LA or somebody, NA style. I think he wanted to go after Super. Who knows with that. But, schedule. We got Justice Dallas kicking it off. Then we have the Fusion taking on the Gladiators, followed by the Shock and the Dragons, finishing it all off for the first round with the Rain and the Hunters. So this is going to be interesting and exciting, and I cannot wait for it to start. Last bastion of Overwatch 1, the last 6v6 matches we're going to see in the Overwatch League are coming up right here, right now. And it's going to be fantastic. We'll do a little overview after the season and talk about, what we liked over the course of the years with this. Because the Overwatch League is going to change as the game changes. So I'm looking forward to this, guys. I am juiced. I'm going to be in California, hiding, looking at stuff, drinking wine, doing all kinds of weird shit. It'll be fun. And it's going to be fun talking to you guys when I get back, too. I will have, like I said, preview episode's going to be up. I'll probably schedule it somewhere around Friday of this week. It'll be up. Comment in the comments here and there. I will comment back and forth. Yeah, there we have it, guys. Play-ins are done. Playoffs are set. That's going to do it for this episode, guys. I'd like to thank everybody for joining me. Thank you all for all of your support, likes, views, subscribes, all that stuff. It's greatly, greatly appreciated, guys. And if you're new, thank you very much for stopping by. Please hit a like, hit a subscribe, all the YouTube jazz. That'll be fantastic. This is Misfit. I'm out. Everybody stay safe. Have a good rest of your day. And I'll talk to you on the next one.